Hello, am I audible to you, the students?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So good afternoon to all of you. Dear students, as you all know that we are talking about operations management, which is nothing but the study of the various processes which are going on in the organization, and irrespective of the nature of the organization, whether it's a bank, whether it's an IT company, whether it's a manufacturing company, the aspects, the discussion on operation will remain the same. In last few classes, 3 4 classes are very important because of the reason that we had a detailed discussion on forecasting, which is a very important tool in the hand of operations manager to plan their future. So for planning and control, forecasting is a requirement. This time we are successful in delivering the points of forecasting with the help of theoretical aspects, with the help of PowerPoint, and some live example in the form of spreadsheets. Spreadsheets. The example we have already discussed. I know that you have a lot of questions about spreadsheet, use of spreadsheet, and in forecasting, and specifically some of the method which we have already briefed you. We will take up your query at a suitable time, right? Today, I would like to go ahead a bit of the content part of operations management, and one of the very important area of organization, right, which is very important for students, which is very important for operations manager rather, is the analysis of the working of organization, how effective the organization is working, how effective a particular section or unit or department or workstation is working. It's an important concern for the for the operations manager. The study of understanding the working of a particular department or unit is based on the same fundamental and conventional method of comparing the output with a V to input. So if somebody asks you to compare a particular system, I mean the performance of a system, you know the performance of any system is compared in terms of output vis-a-vis to input. And mathematically, we represent it as a ratio of output and input. So we take the ratio of output and input in which we have output as numerator and input as denominator. So imagine, I'm not showing you any mathematical formula, I'm just developing the understanding that you are taking the ratio of output versus input. That gives you a ratio, and this ratio is used to measure the performance of the organization in the language of operations management. I'm repeating my point that every subject has its own language, has its own terminology, has its own style of writing, has its own grammar. Same is true with operations. Operations has its own terminology. So the ratio of output versus input is known in different forms, depending upon the subject, depending upon the area. In operations, we use a term, we call it as productivity. I'm repeating the term productivity. So understanding of productivity of a particular organization, specifically with context to operations I'm talking about, right? We have to take the ratio of output and input. Now the entire discussion revolves around what are outputs and what are inputs in a particular system, which are concerned for operations manager, which we keep it as denominator and numerator, and then we calculate the ratio, which we call it as productivity. Now I'm going back to my PowerPoint slides to make the things more simple to understand. Please allow me to share my screen. Is my slide visible to all of you? Am I
Yes,
audible?
sir.
Okay. So the slide,
Yes, sir.
yeah, the slide which is there in front of you is again based on a very fundamental model of system. Here we are using the word economic system. You call it as production system, you call it as operation system, where you have three important components: input, transformation process, and output. So input and output are the concern for us, because the middle, the transformation, the conversion, the operations, we want to calculate the performance of that. And the performance of the middle one is calculated with the help of the ratio of output and input. Output for any business organization, we can simplify it. It is either in the form of a physical good or a intangible service. So goods and services, products and services, I would call it as, are the natural outcome of any system. When we talk about input, input you have already learned in your paper of economics, managerial economics, by Professor Waleed and Dr. Tarif. They have already briefed you that every system, every organization required a particular set of input. There are many, but to make you understand, we know that the inputs are in the form of labor or human resource. It can in the form of capital, the money aspects, right? It could be equipment and machinery. It could be raw material. So raw material, equipment and machinery, the capital, the investment, and the labor are 4 or 5 important technology, for example, are 4 or 5 important inputs that any particular system require. We want to use these output and input to calculate our productivity. So this is what I would like to show you. I'm moving to this slide directly so that you would understand it better, that productivity is nothing but it is the number of output, that is units, if it is a physical product, or the number of services that you have served, divided by the total input utilized, right? Definitely, as I am already discussing it with you, we are measuring the performance. What is the purpose of measuring the performance? हम आपका सेशनल टेस्ट लेते हैं, हम आपका एग्जाम लेते हैं, हम बीच में आपसे क्वेश्चंस पुट अप करते हैं. The job is to assess your performance so that we can improve. And improvement, continuous improvement is the important part of a system. So improvement is one, and we also want to know the area where we want to improve. कहाँ पे हमें इम्प्रूवमेंट करना है? आउटपुट पे इम्प्रूवमेंट करना है या इनपुट में इम्प्रूवमेंट करना है? किसको हमें इंक्रीज करना है, किसको हमें डिक्रीज करना है? That is, the very, very important part, and which is only possible if you take the ratio of productive of output and input. Before I move ahead, I would like to show you the example of Starbucks, a very well-known, chain. Starbucks, everybody, either you have experienced it or you have a chance to sit inside, or you have at least know about it, you have passed through that. See how simple and how it appears to be a very simple issues, but how does Starbucks improves their productivity by making a slight change in their input, and that delivers magnificent improvement in their output. Right? देखिए आप जरा खुद सोचिए थोड़ा सा इसमें क्या हुआ. Number one, for example, every time when you buy Starbucks coffee, you have to pay with your credit card. Every time you use a credit card, they ask you to sign. जब भी आप ट्रांजेक्शन करते थे और क्रेडिट कार्ड यूज करते थे, they ask you to sign. Signing, they stop this practice. You use the credit card or debit card and need not to sign. With this, they analyze that they save 8 seconds per transaction. They have changed their equipments like scoop, and they have changed the size, and they received a decrease in 14 seconds per drink. Same is with, they change the machines, equipment, and number of other changes they have made, and they save the time. Now, what is the cost of the time? उन्होंने time को save किया, which is an important input. Now, when they save the time, this has been estimated that with this slight change, 3 important steps they have taken, and they have saved their time, and time is what the cost, and they have reduced the cost, and which ultimately result to quite a large percentage of improvement in their productivity. So this is one important example कि अगर आप अपने इनपुट में एक छोटा सा चेंज लाते हैं, जैसा कि आपने देखा स्टारबक्स ने टाइम को सेव करने के लिए कुछ स्टेप्स लिए, And when they finally convert the saved time into the monetary cost, they realize that they have saved their cost, they have saved their input, which leads to the improvement in their productivity. So that something is there mathematically, you can understand it. Now, before I move ahead, I would like to tell you that productivity is not a one type. There are many types of productivity. That is, the ratio of not a universal formula where you can apply irrespective of the nature of output and input. No, there are many, but for the sake of understanding, we are taking two types of productivity. One, we call it as labor productivity, and the other one, taking all together, we call it as multi-factor productivity. The name itself gives you an idea. When I use the word labor productivity, you understand that we are talking about the productivity of the labor, the human resource, the human being that you have put in as an input. So labor productivity. And then rest of the input, like capital, equipment, and all, you combine it and you call it as multi-factor productivity. I would like to shift your focus toward the first type of productivity, which we call it as labor productivity. This is the first, the type of productivity which we call it as labor productivity. As you know, that labor productivity is nothing. It is simply we are taking only one type of input. And what type of input we are taking? We are taking only the time consumed, the cost incurred in putting or hiring the labor for the output.
Sir,
One,
the slide is not changing.
sorry, is it now? Is it?
This slide. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Fine.
Okay, I'm referring to labor productivity. This labor productivity. This is what I'm referring to. That labor productivity is nothing but again input and output. Input, we are taking only one type of input, which is the labor hours or the cost incurred in hiring the labor vis-a-vis to the output. One numerical is, suppose you have manufactured 1,000 units and you have used 250 hours of labor. So in manufacturing 1,000 units, the input requires 250 hours of labor. Some arrangement is there. Finally, you are getting the productivity as 4 units per labor hour. So this type of calculation where we are taking the numerator as output, overall output, but we are taking only one type of input, that is labor hour, we classify it as labor productivity. We have many examples, we have many numerical example, I would say, which can help you to understand the labor productivity. I have already discussed this point with you, that input is not only labor. Input input is not only labor. Input can be many. I will come to my second slide, this slide, that input is not only labor, we have many factors: material, capital, equipment, labor, and other types, which we classified as miscellaneous. Now, if you combine all these inputs together, the productivity that you calculate, we call it as multi-factor productivity. The formula of productivity will remain the same. Output vis-a-vis to input. The only difference that you have noticed in labor vis-a-vis to multi-factor productivity is कि लेबर में आपने सिर्फ लेबर इनपुट को लिया था और यहाँ जितने और बाकी बचे हुए लेबर इनपुट्स हैं उन सबको एक साथ ले रहे हैं. You are taking all inputs together and you are naming it as multi-factor productivity. Sometimes this is also known as total factor productivity. Coming to a numerical problem to make you understand this point. I'm showing you a numerical problem with the help of my power chart changing. So this is the example which I'm taking right now. Is the slide visible to all of you? Is this slide visible?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. So kindly refer to this example, which is about talking about labor productivity. This is the example. This is about an insurance company where 600 insurance policies are processed in a week. So they have processed 600 insurance policies. In order to process 600 insurance policy, definitely they require some input. The input right now, we are taking only labor input, and that has been given that 8 hours per day and 5 days per week. So in one day, how many hours? 8 hours. And how many days they are working in a week? They are working 5 days in a week. So I hope you understand the input. So if you put in the form of the mathematical formula, output क्या है? Insurance policies. Input क्या है? Hours employed, right? Number of hours that are employed, that are used as input. So policies, naturally 600. And when you have, it has been mentioned 3 employees are used. If you see the first word, 3 employees are used. So 3 employees working 8 hours, 5 days in a week. So 3 into 8 into 5. If you multiply, you will get it 600 divided by this much, 5 policies per hour. So just see this policy which I'm showing you, 5 policies per hour. This is the productivity that we have for a particular organization which is processing the insurance policy. This is the simplest example to make you understand the labor productivity issue. Any question from your side? Anything which is not clear with this simple example? Output, input, and labor productivity formula. Any doubt? Any confusion?
Sir,
Please.
sir, I have a doubt related to the multi-factor productivity.
I will come to this later on. First of all, about labor productivity. Any question? No? Any doubt about labor productivity? Okay, I'll move ahead. Multi-factor productivity. This is more appealing. Let us take it. So I would like to seek your doubt first. Yes, बताइए क्या doubt है आपका?
Sir, we discussed in the formula that we include the labor cost as well, but previously we studied another one like the labor productivity, particularly for the labor cost. So, is it necessary if we include it in multi-factor as well?
Yes. Yes. Reason is, if you recall my slides, previous slide, I told you that multi-factor productivity is also known as total productivity. So by multi-factor, it is actually the total. By total, what does this mean? Total means taking all inputs together. So if you exclude labor, then it will not give you a complete scenario of total productivity. And you again see the result. Result is, why do we calculate productivity? Because we want to seek improvement. We want to know the areas where we have to make an improvement. अगर हमने लेबर उसमें से एक्सक्लूड कर दिया मल्टी फैक्टर में से, ये सोचते हुए कि लेबर प्रोडक्टिविटी तो हम सेपरेट कैलकुलेट कर ही लेंगे, तो फिर वो टोटल प्रोडक्टिविटी नहीं होगी. दैट वुड नॉट बी अ टोटल प्रोडक्टिविटी. एंड इफ इट इज नॉट अ टोटल प्रोडक्टिविटी, हाउ कैन यू थिंक ऑफ इंप्रूविंग प्रोडक्टिविटी by making some change in your labor? That is the reason that in multi-factor productivity we include labor. I hope you get the point.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Let's follow this numerical problem which is there about the accounting department of the organization, right? It's about the manufacturing organization, the factory. They are making 400 units of a product. For example, mobile phone manufacturers. They are manufacturing 400 units of mobile phone with a price of $10 per unit. See the additional information that they are giving to you. That's very important. Output is 400 unit, and if you sold out this product in the market price is $10 per unit. So a product hai which priced at $10 in the market. They have taken the input, and inputs are presented in the form of their monetary value. अब देखिए बड़ी इंपॉर्टेंट चीज, That is the important thing. Output is mentioned in terms of units and its market price, and all inputs are converted into their corresponding monetary value. क्या क्या है input? The inputs are in the form of labor, and this has been estimated that for 400 units, $400 of labor cost is incurred. When we talk about material, this has been found that for manufacturing 400 units of products, $1,000 of material, raw material is used. And when we talk about miscellaneous overhead, accounting में जानते हैं overheads like expenses, like rent, like power and electricity, like maintenance cost, like breakage, like loss. All these are clubbed together, and we have this as an overhead and $300 as an overhead. So these are the various types of input that we have used, and all these inputs are represented in the form of the monetary value. Now you have to calculate the multi-factor productivity. क्या करेंगे आप multi-factor productivity में? What is the formula for multi-factor productivity? Output divided by input. Numerator is output. Denominator is all two inputs taken together. Multi-factor productivity we are talking about. Yes, please. So will anybody out of you tell me what do you think about the input? Numerator क्या होगा इस formula का? What is the value of input?
So total revenue generated,
What it would be?
$4,000.
Okay. How do you get this figure? By the way, I'm suppose I disagree and I say it is 4,500. How do you justify? Anybody else?
Sir,
Anybody else? I want other students to please participate. बताएं तो बहुत आसान है.
Yes, sir. You have
Sir,
to
it
multiply
is-
the number of units with the number cost of per unit.
Usman, will you please repeat what you are saying?
Yes, sir. Sir, you have to multiply the per cost unit to the number of units. Then you will get the.
Usman, my simple question is, what is the numerator in this numerical?
4,000.
Okay. How do we get it? This 4,000. Another student,
Yes,
please
sir.
answer this question. Another student, Usman, I get the point. Another student, please answer this question. Imran, you are here.
Yes, sir.
Imran.
Sir, it would be. Yes, sir. Am I audible?
Yeah, please. You are
Sir,
audible.
it would be per unit cost, which is per unit cost, which is $10 into the number of units, which is 400. That would be $4,000.
$4,000. This is output or this is input?
Sir.
Sorry, please unmute yourself first.
So that is value of output, sir.
Value of output. Good. Are you all agree that this is the value of output? हम 4,000 यूनिट्स बना रहे हैं जिसमें मार्केट प्राइस की उसकी मार्केट वैल्यू क्या है? उसकी मार्केट वैल्यू है 4,400 मल्टीप्लाइड बाय 10. So the market value is $4,000. So definitely this is the output. This is the value that we are generating. Output. Let's talk about input. So different inputs that we have included. The first input. Kavita, what is the first input that we are going to put? Kavita, am I audible to you? Lavnish Agarwal?
yes, sir.
Lavnish, बताइए. Inputs. Lavnish, you are here. Faizan, you are here.
Yes, sir.
Faizan, what are the inputs?
Yes, sir. So inputs are labor cost plus material cost plus overhead cost, sir. Labor cost is 400,
Good.
material cost is 1,000, and overhead cost is for $300.
Okay, very good. Muzammil, are you agree with the answer of Faizan? Muzammil Ahmed? Uneza, you are here? Uneza Sultan?
Yes, sir.
Uneza, you agree with the denominator? We are combining
Yes,
all
sir.
the inputs. ठीक कह रहे हैं?
Yes, sir. जी sir.
आपका तो बैकग्राउंड अकाउंटिंग का ही है ना?
No, sir. Bio.
अच्छा बायो का है, कोई बात नहीं. तो अकाउंटिंग बैकग्राउंड and our friend from Bangladesh, Rafid Mahmood, you are here.
Yes, sir. Sir, he's right.
Okay, Rafid,
Hello.
am I audible to you? My slides are properly visible?
Yes, sir. Perfectly.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, Rafid. So, Rafid, it's perfectly all right, the formula input and output?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, if you put it like this one, it's already there on my slide. मैंने आपको slide में दिखाया था पहले ही. So, this is, we have, so finally we have the multi-factor productivity is coming out to be 2.35. So, this is the multi-factor productivity of the system, which is coming out to be 2.35. I'm keeping it as full screen. 2.35. Am I clear about this point? Any question from your side? Anything which is not clear to you about multi-factor productivity?
So productivity can be in units and amount as well, right?
Yeah, that's a good question. That's a good question. That because productivity is a ratio. Now, in which denomination, in which unit you would like to present it, that depends on the situation and that depends on the type of data. जैसे पहली वाली situation जो मैंने आपको दिखाई, the first scenario here it is because we have the data about 600 policies. उसकी कोई monetary value नहीं है 600 policies. It is very difficult to find out the monetary market value of 600 policies. अलग-अलग value है, तो कैसे आप उसे निकालोगे, नहीं कर सकते. और नीचे जो employee hours है, उसका जो data है वो है 8 hours, 5 days, 3 employees. You could convert it into a monetary value, but still no uniformity exists in terms of numerator and denominator. तो यहाँ पे जो यूनिट आ रहा है, जो डिनोमिनेशन आ रहा है फाइनल रिजल्ट का, वो आ रहा है 5 policies per hour. और when we change the question and you see this problem here, it is quite simple because numerator and denominator both are in the monetary value dollar, and dollar will cancel out with the dollar, and finally we have the final ratio as 2.35 without any unit. So yes, you can. You have any unit of productivity. तो इससे होगा क्या, इससे कंफ्यूजन क्या हो रहा है, तब क्या आपको लगता है ये कुछ कंफ्यूजन क्रिएट करेगा? और अगर ये कंफ्यूजन क्रिएट करेगा तो फिर इसका क्या सॉल्यूशन है? Yes, please. That would be the limitation of productivity analysis also. कोई बताएगा क्या चैलेंज है यहाँ पे हमारे पास? हम प्रोडक्टिविटी कैलकुलेट कर रहे हैं, we have a numerical data, but we are getting results into different units. तो फिर ये क्या चैलेंज है हमारे पास? इसका कोई चैलेंज है भी या नहीं है? ये बस सिंपल न्यू यूनिट इनपुट्स और आउटपुट रख देंगे और वैल्यू निकाल लेंगे. तो ये अगर इतना सिंपल था तो ये तो 10th क्लास के स्टूडेंट और 9th क्लास के स्टूडेंट को बताना चाहिए था. ये MBA में आके क्यों बताया जा रहा है? Why we are talking at this stage of master's program in business administration? Why not in the curriculum of 9th and 10th class where or 11th class? क्या चैलेंज है यहाँ पे? क्यों जरूरी है हमारे लिए? क्या ये जो न्यूमेरिकल कैलकुलेशन है ये इंपॉर्टेंट है हमारे लिए? ये जो रिजल्ट आ रहा है और जो उसका इंटरप्रिटेशन है और जो उसका यूज है वो इंपॉर्टेंट है हमारे लिए? विच इज इंपॉर्टेंट. बड़ी खामोशी है भाई.
Sir, actually, we need to, I think, control parameters on which output is dependent, and how we can increase or decrease the output factor just by increasing or decreasing the input. So that is the main challenge here.
Yeah, Tausif, you are right. Tausif, but I'm right on. My focus is on, like, I have discussed two numerical problems in which the one we are getting the unit of policies per hour. Whereas in the other numerical problem, we don't have any unit. Is this two different numerical values with unit and without unit? What actually it poses a challenge? Okay, without wasting much of your time, I will tell you one thing. You cannot compare the two productivity ratio. Important challenge is I cannot compare labor productivity value vis-a-vis to total factor productivity. These two are different ratio. You cannot compare. What best you can compare is that you can compare, like in the first problem of insurance policy, you can compare the same ratio of company A to company B. आप कंपनी ए से कंपनी बी का रेशियो कंपेयर कर सकते हैं जो कि सेम टाइप का डेटा यूज कर रहा होगा, बट यू कैन नॉट कंपेयर लेबर प्रोडक्टिविटी विद मल्टी-फैक्टर प्रोडक्टिविटी. And when we come to multi-factor productivity, with the same set of data, I can compare again either a product A to product B. मैं ये तो कर सकता हूँ कि मैंने प्रोडक्ट ए के 400 यूनिट्स लिए और प्रोडक्ट बी के 600 यूनिट्स लिए और उनकी वैल्यू चेंज करके मैंने उनकी प्रोडक्टिविटी देखी कि प्रोडक्ट ए की प्रोडक्टिविटी क्या है और प्रोडक्ट बी की प्रोडक्टिविटी क्या है, या कॉम्पिटिटर ए की प्रोडक्टिविटी क्या है या कॉम्पिटिटर बी की प्रोडक्टिविटी. बट क्रॉस कंपैरिजन of different type of ratio is not possible, and you can compare only and only if there is units which are common, if the denomination is common. ये एक थोड़ा सा लिमिटेशन है प्रोडक्टिविटी एनालिसिस का, लेकिन जो बात तौसीफ आपने कही एब्सोल्युटली राइट. द पर्पस फॉर द मैनेजर, द जॉब फॉर द मैनेजर इज टू कंपेयर इनपुट एंड आउटपुट एंड टू dig out, to identify the areas of improvement in input and output that makes the thing simple. We have some more numerical problem in the same context, which I would like to discuss with you. Just give me 1 minute. Put in my charger. Whatever I am telling you, I hope that it is simple, not very difficult at all. Simple है जो भी आपसे डिस्कस किया था.
Yes, sir.
ये कॉम्प्लिकेटेड भी शुरू होने वाला है थोड़ी देर. स्प्रेडशीट खुलेगी, नाम में आपको क्वेरीज हैंडल करेंगे और आप उनसे क्वेरी पुटअप करेंगे, तब आएगा प्रैक्टिकल सिनेरियो. ये सब थ्योरेटिकल छोटी छोटी चीजें बताने के लिए आप. I will move ahead this numerical problem, which is again to make you understand it better. That I hope this data is there in front of you is clear. It's a comparison of this year, last year, year before last year. So 2021, 2020 and 2019. The tabular data is given in front of you, where the tabular data is in the form of output, which is unit sales, and all the input, employees, manufactured, total manufacturing cost and all, right? And then they have asked you to calculate year to date labor product, that is labor productivity. Year to date is for each year you have to calculate, and also the total factor productivity. So if you calculate for this year, if you calculate, this is the figure. Last year, this is the figure, and last to last year, that is year before last year, this is the figure. So if you just see the scenario from 24.66 to 18.91, so it shows that from 2019 to 2021, there is an improvement in labor productivity. Improve कर रहा है from 18 to 24%. When we talk about multi-factor productivity, if we see and we compare the figures, and we compare the figure, we have the multi-factor productivity for this year 1.27 and last year 1.24. So there is a slight or marginal improvement from last year to this year from 1.24 to 1.27. This figure, this number, जो एक छोटा सा नंबर है, ये पूरी कहानी बताता है सिस्टम. मैंने आपको बताया था कि जब मैंने आपसे डिस्कस किया था कि जब रिलायंस ग्रुप अपनी मीटिंग करते हैं तो उनके जो सीईओज और उनके जो ओनर्स होते हैं वो मीटिंग में जाते हैं विद सिंगल पेज. अब आप इमेजिन करिए ये कॉन्ग्लोमरेट which have span geographical region in elsewhere. जब मीटिंग होती है तो सिंगल पेज का डेटा होता है. क्या होता है वो डेटा? डेटा. The whole Pandora starts get opening. उस 35 पेज की स्प्रेडशीट अकाउंटिंग शीट का सिंगल वैल्यू क्या है? The single value is
Sir?
जो आप कहेंगे कि it is 1.27. So
Sir?
this is what we need to discuss at this stage.
Excuse me, sir.
This is only possible, again I'm repeating what Dr. Lame have already said to you, good command for the use of Excel, that is spreadsheet, is the need of the hour.
Excuse me, sir.
Sir, your voice is breaking.
So, sir. So, sir will be joining in a short while. There was some technical error and I believe some connectivity issues at his end. Please bear with him for another 2 minutes.
Okay, sir.
Hello, am I audible to you?
Yes, sir, you are audible now.
Yeah, sorry, I lost the connection in between, and that is why I'm not very sure. I'm again sharing my screen. Please let me know. Are you able to understand this problem? क्या ये जो problem मैंने discuss करी थी ये clear था? Share कर चुका था मैं आपसे? Am I audible at? I was audible at that point of time?
Sir, you were telling that this is how the company present a one-page data.
ठीक, fine. So that is all from my side about multi-factor productivity and labor productivity. Question, any query, any clarification, any point that you would like to add in the discussion? कोई चीज आप ऐड करना चाहते हो, कोई क्लैरिफिकेशन आपकी तरफ से है?
Sir, the last thing that you were telling, we were not able to listen to that.
I hope the calculation part is over about year labor productivity for this year, last year, and year before last year, and then
Yes, sir.
multi-factor productivity. What I'm just telling you that this is the single figure which is required to assess the system, to analyze the system. And I'm telling you, practically speaking, that when you join the corporate, you have to calculate all, and you have to present them in front of your, the head in the meeting. And see, जो एक फिगर आ रही है 1.27 और 1.24, वो पूरी स्टोरी बता रही है कि 1.24 से 1.27 इंप्रूवमेंट हुआ है. मान लीजिए 1.24 से 1.22 हो जाता, so that tells you the story that it decreases. Single figure, that is the summary. I again repeat the same, that knowledge and use of a spreadsheet is mandatory for professional development. And all our efforts, you are lucky that we have a resource person like Dr. Lame, and some of it I'm also trying to make you understand that we are emphasizing too much on use of spreadsheet and Excel. प्लीज आप उस पॉइंट को बहुत सीरियस लीजिए और स्प्रेडशीट की जो भी प्रॉब्लम्स आपको दी जा रही हैं बहुत अच्छे से पढ़िए और करिए. एंड फील फ्री टू डिस्कस. वी कैन अरेंज ए सेपरेट सेशन इफ यू वांट. लेकिन आप ये सोचें कि स्प्रेड मुझे नहीं करना है, बस मैं पावर पॉइंट देख लूंगा और एग्जाम दे लूंगा, सेशन दे लूंगा, तो वो तो हो जाएगा. एग्जाम भी दे लेंगे, सेशन भी हो जाएगा, पास भी हो जाएगा. लेकिन प्रोफेशनल डेवलपमेंट आई एम सॉरी टू से ऑपरेशंस के एरिया में नहीं होने वाला. With this, I would like to hand over to Dr. Lame. Dr. Lame, you are here?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I think now you can take over and you will please carry on with your example of this.
Thank you, sir.
Please allow me to leave. Yeah, please allow me to leave because I have some meeting with Jim.
Thank you, Asif, sir. Thanks for your time.
My pleasure. My pleasure. I'm leaving the call.
Okay, sir. Yes, students. Today, you all know that we have an assignment due date on the line. So today I will be dealing with the queries. Before dealing with the queries, let me share that screen with you guys. Let me bear with me for a moment. Okay, this was the slide. That was the actually airline load factor data that we have given as an assignment. What are the queries? Before asking queries from your end, let me give answers to some of the queries which came to me through WhatsApp. One of the students asked me that why we should use what is the better technique, 3-point, 5-point, 7-point moving average, and how to understand which is best for you or best for the calculations. As again, I will reiterate and again I will repeat this point that we have two methods to understand that which technique is more useful for you. Number one is graphical method, but sometimes graphical method may be very confusing. So we have one statistical method known as mean absolute deviation, mean standard error, and mean absolute percentage error. These three values need to be calculated and compared. For example, if we are using 3-point moving average and mean absolute percentage error, let's suppose it's 10%. And if you use 5-point moving average, the mean absolute percentage error may go to, let's say, 7%. So in that case, 5-point moving average is showing you less error. It means it is more closer to the data that you have provided. So it will be more suitable to use 5-point moving average. And if you're using exponential linear regression, or if you are using, for example, in one case, you calculate your forecast by using weighted average method. And in another case, if you calculate the same data using exponential smoothing, you can compare these two as well. It is not that you will have to implement the same technique only, then you will have calculate the mean absolute percentage error or mean absolute deviation or mean standard error. You can use multiple techniques, and if you want to compare those techniques, you will use these standard error terms. Linear regression, for example, if you use for the first time, and the second time you use exponential smoothing, you can compare these two as well. So for any type of comparison, for understanding which technique is actually giving you the better results, these three standard error terms, MAD, MSE, and MAPE, mean absolute deviation, mean standard error, and mean absolute percentage error, is actually used. And then these figures are compared with each other, and those having the less error is always preferred. Okay, number one. Second query, which came to me through WhatsApp, is understand whether there is a seasonality in the data or not. I have given you an example through graphical method. By using graphical method, you can easily understand that there's some ups and downs in the figure, and that ups and downs may impact your decision towards making a forecast. How our decision is impacted by seasonality. There's a term known as standard deviation. You all must have learned standard deviation. Mean, median, mode bhi padha hai, standard deviation padha hai, variance padha hai. The standard deviation is nothing that how much your actual value is deviating from the mean. How far it is from the mean. In case of seasonality, if you want to fit a line, to the curve, that line or that particular trend line will have a lot of distance from the original data points, means there will be a lot of standard deviation, a huge figure in the standard deviation part. Why we do deseasonalization is we want to remove that seasonality. We want to remove that particular seasonality from the data so that you can predict well. And let me tell you, you can predict a straight line easily as compared to any zigzag curve. So that is why researchers want the data to be deseasonalized so that it can be transformed into somewhat closer to a straight line so that forecasting can be done easily. You can forecast a straight line easily as compared to any curve which is actually not making some variations, right? This was the second query which I am trying to answer. Third query, and I believe one of the important query which I left in the previous class on you students to deal with that, is that how to decide what values to take in the November and the December data. This data, November and December. For example, in the previous class, as our Asif sir has told you that it is expected that the next year demand will be 60 units. So this expectation is something which is very vague. And that is why we use seasonalization and deseasonalization of data. Somebody has submitted this file, this particular actual file. I have not been able to go through it as of now. But this is the data. I have deliberately put in the data into a vertical column so that if you want to draw a graph, it will be far more easy for you to draw a graph. Just a moment. Yes, so it will be easy for you to draw a graph. In that case, I have already shown you how to draw a graph in this scenario. And once you draw a graph in this scenario, you may find that there is a seasonality in the data. Ups and downs. And if I want to predict, it will be my choice whether I use moving average, weighted moving average, or exponential smoothing or linear regression. It is my choice. But linear regression, also known as trend analysis, as the name goes, trend, it follows the trend. It tries to follow the trend. So if I want to fix a moving average graph, it may fix very well. If I try to fit a weighted moving average graph, it might fit very well. But there is one problem with this moving average method. The more data points you take, the farther it reaches from the mean point or the values. Let me show you with an example. I'm taking out the same example which I have shared with you guys. And if you can see, in this case, I have calculated 3-point average and 5-point moving average. Let me calculate 7-point moving average as well. So take any period. Let's suppose if you look at this period, what happens? This is the actual sales amount that happened. This is the predicted sales amount, and this is another predicted sales amount. If you look at these two figures, 9621 and 8479, it is going away from the actual amount. It is going away from the figure. Means बहुत अच्छा फोरकास्ट क्या होता है कि ये फिगर 10,200 के आसपास होती है, मतलब it is more closer to 10,258. The more closer it is, the better the forecast is. But what is happening, the more you are taking, it is going farther and farther from actual forecast. If you can see this in this figure, 10,719 was the actual forecast. It is more closer to actual amount 10,952. But the moment I take 5 point, the moment I take 7 point, it is going again farther and farther from 10,952. The difference between the two is increasing and increasing. Let me show you like this. Sorry. B $9 sorry. C9. For a moment. What I have done here, I have simply calculated the difference. This is not 8 point, this is not 9 point, this is not 10 point. Okay. What I am trying to show you here, the more you are going, more you are using point averages, the difference is increasing and increasing. In some case, they are approximately same. In some case, the 7 point is more than 5 point. But basic idea is that the more you are using moving average, the more it is going from the actual figure, going away from the actual figure. So it is not recommended to use this particular method always for understanding purpose, for making a guess, a naive guess, or you can say a preliminary idea. You can use moving average method or weighted moving average method. Similar is the case with weighted moving average. But when you go to exponential smoothing, again, as I told you, the word smoothing, it smooths the curve. It tries to make the curve more smooth. The moment you are doing that, what you are doing, you're again doing the same thing. You're trying to make the curve more smooth, as you can see in your figure. So what you are doing, trying to smoothing the curve, means trying to fit the curve into a straight line. This is what we are trying to do, exponential smoothing method. Again, that's an improved version of different methods. Weighted average and moving average. That's an improved method. And y is equal to a plus bx trend analysis is actually used worldwide, because the more you can fit the particular graph into a straight line, it is more easy for you to actually predict it using the formula y is equal to a plus bx. There is a multiple regression and partial regression, वो चीजें बहुत standard और बहुत अंदर तक की, हम उस पर नहीं focus करेंगे ज़्यादा. We are much more focus on this particular idea. Okay, number one. अच्छा, alpha 1.1, alpha 0.3, alpha 0.5 पे पता करने के लिए, या फिर कौन सा method कौन सा अच्छा पता करने के लिए, we have discussed this. Mean absolute deviation, square error, and MAPE. I have given you that particular file, and I expect that you must have calculated something out of it. And I believe it is very important for you to calculate तो कहीं ना कहीं आके यही आपको सही रिजल्ट दिखाता है, मतलब बताता है कि what is a better technique to follow, right? Okay, so I have given that example of number of visitors as well. So I believe what I have tried to answer, it has been answered all your queries that I have that have been through to me through WhatsApp. Sorry, there was some technical glitch. Anyway, so I believe some okay, optional inline template data, right? So that was the template data that I have shared with you guys, and I have asked you to actually calculate using step-by-step process, and I have shown you the process, taking an example of a process, how to do that. First, you calculate sample mean, then you calculate rows mean, or the years mean, then you particularly calculate the seasonality index. You deseasonalize the data by multiplying that seasonality index and all, and then you can actually have a series. I have calculated that deseasonalized series, which is hidden here. Let me open it. All right. Okay. If I go to and draw the graph of this deseasonalized series, as you can see, the graph is more of a straight line as compared to previous data. Let me select all the data first. As you can see here, the data series shows the seasonality here, and what we have done, we have deseasonalized data. We have tried to fix the seasonality problem, and the more we are trying to put it in the straight line. This is the seasonality that you must have done. Deseasonality की तरफ कोई तो दिक्कत मेरे ख्याल से आनी नहीं चाहिए. कोई अगर आती है, we can again reiterate the process, but the process is very easy. But मैं चाहता हूं कि आप उसके खुद हाथ से करें. Now the question is, which I have left for you people to answer. Somebody, not somebody, at least 3 people have asked from your colleagues that what value of November or December should we take here? What value should we take so that it can be calculated? How we will predict it? तो इस previous example में तो ये था कि हमें एक hypothetical figure दे दी थी कि there are 60 units or 60 units of data or 60 units will be sold and so forth. So how to move ahead? Again, मैंने इसीलिए question छोड़ा था ताकि you should use your mental capacity and do something which is totally wrong, do something which is not up to the mark, but at least try to do something. That was actually I wanted you to to exercise, to find answers to. Has anyone done something? Can anybody tell me that how we should fill this particular figure, how we should predict it? Anybody? If you are using linear trend, for example, y is equal to a plus bx, so many people have asked me, okay, why we understand that's a load factor data. What is x? Just important question. What is x?
So we can check it by other months by putting
Absolutely, yes. And what if you are using linear trend? Let's suppose. So y is equal to a plus bx is something which is there. What is the value of x? Because you are actually getting the output of load factor. What is the value of x? किसी ने लीनियर ट्रेंड की लाइन इक्वेशन बनाई, इस पर नहीं बनाई? किसी ने इक्वेशन बनाई नहीं बनाई इसकी?
So X is the number of months, means when we keep in series from 1 to 3, like months of year 2003, 2004. And at which series, like we are counting on 131 number. So X value will be 131.
Okay, let's do some calculation. X value is 131. Let's suppose. So the next November की हमारी क्या होगी? 132. Multiplied by 132 plus 73.725. Load factor is coming out to 188.961. ये तो ज्यादा हो गया ना. 100 सीट पे 188 लोग कैसे जा सकते हैं? यूपी की बस तो है नहीं, यूरोपी रोडवेज की बस तो है नहीं कि एयरलाइन में 100 सीट्स अवेलेबल हैं और 188 or 189 people can board in. So this is not far away. So, anybody else? What should be the X? Let me put it this way.
Sir, there was a mistake in calculation.
Yes, tell me. Just tell me the mistake.
So it was 0.0873 and you put that 0.873. So there was...
Okay. Thanks for correcting me. 132. Okay, now we are talking something. 85.2486. This is 132. I believe so. This is 131 or 132. Yes, anybody? Thank you for correction. Yes, anybody? Let me put 131 here. 85.16 and 85.16 and 85 point. Okay. Right, 85.24. So one of the answers is 85.16 and 85.24. Is it okay? Somebody, please do something wrong. No problem. मुझे WhatsApp करके बताना चाहता है तो no problem. I can hear that as well. I can listen and I can see that particular message as well. Anyways. Are you people present here or I'm just talking to my laptop?
Sir, present.
Then at least speak something. मतलब ऐसे blank बन के बैठ जाते हो यार तुम लोग. मतलब ऐसे मत करो, blank मत बनो. मतलब might be possible आपका तरीका ज्यादा अच्छा हो. ये जो तरीके हम यूज कर रहे हैं, whatever we are trying to do here, it is there for you to learn. और मुझे लग रहा है थोड़ा मेहनत ज्यादा है, ठीक है, but I believe it must be interesting for you to actually calculate the forecast. Yes.
Sir, can you explain this trend line again?
Trend line. Okay, just a moment. Okay, that trend line. Okay, just a moment. Where is the trend line? कोई काम नहीं भाई. Okay, yeah, sorry. ये ट्रेंड लाइन यहाँ पर आया y is equal to, let me make it big enough so that you can easily see. Okay, is it visible now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So you all must have gone through that slide of which Asif sir has told us that y equal to a plus b times x. ये a plus b times x जो मैं यहाँ पर कैलकुलेट करके दिखा रहा हूँ आपको, ये बेसिकली फॉर्मूला होता है ट्रेंड लाइन का, राइट? What you are trying to do here, you are trying to calculate the relationship between x and y, and that relationship if can be denoted through a straight line, this is the formula of a straight line. तो x तो पता लग जाता है, ये independent variable which is not dependent upon y, but y is dependent variable, it depends upon x. क्या मतलब हुआ कि y में कुछ भी चेंज आ रहा हो x पे कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता, लेकिन अगर x में कुछ चेंज आ गया तो y पे इम्पैक्ट होगा. It means that the moment I do some changes in x, there is some impact on y. वो impact calculate हो रहा है a plus bx, ये formula से. And this a and b are nothing but they are constants. And these constants are calculated using a formula. वो formula आप लोगों को बताया गया है, उस formula का derivation भी है. स्लोप से कैलकुलेट करके निकालते हैं उसमें, लेकिन वी आर नॉट गोइंग इनटू दैट डेरिवेशन. वी आर नॉट हियर टू टेक, वी आर नॉट स्टैटिस्टिशियंस हियर, वी आर डिसीजन मेकर्स. वी वांट टू टेक डिसीजन, सो वी विल नॉट गो इनटू डीप इनटू हाउ दिस फॉर्मूला इज कैलकुलेटेड, बट यू मस्ट नो द फॉर्मूला ऑफ a, the formula of b. If you have a formula of b, you can calculate the formula of a. तो a और b के कांस्टेंट फॉर्मूला है, एंड दैट पर्टिकुलर इज डिपेंडेंट अपॉन summation x, summation y, sum of x's, sum of y's, sum of xy's और sum of xy का स्क्वायर. ये सब फॉर्मूला आपको याद होना चाहिए. लेकिन एक्सेल का बेनिफिट क्या है? वी कैन जस्ट क्लिक ऑन द ट्रेंड लाइन, और एक डॉटेड लाइन आपको यहाँ दिख रही है एक्सेल में, अगर आप गौर से देखें. लेट मी मेक इट मोर ब्रॉडर. ये डॉटेड लाइन जो आपको दिख रही है, ये डॉटेड लाइन यहाँ पर जो ये स्ट्रेट लाइन बना रहे हैं, इस ट्रेंड लाइन को फिक्स करने के लिए ये आपको बताया गया है. तो y इज इक्वल टू a प्लस bx जो आपके पास मौजूद है यहाँ पर, इस x में मैं कुछ चेंज करता हूं तो y के अंदर चेंज आएगा. कितना चेंज आएगा ये a और b पे डिपेंड करता है. लेट्स सपोज मैं कहता हूं y की वैल्यू डिपेंड करती है a पे, a की वैल्यू है लेट्स सपोज 2 और b की वैल्यू है लेट्स सपोज 4. तो मैं x की वैल्यू अगर चेंज करूं तो y की वैल्यू में चेंज आएगा क्या नहीं आएगा? ये 2 और 4 में बहुत डिपेंड करता है. लेट्स सपोज मैं x की अलग अलग वैल्यूज लेके चलता हूं. अगर मैं x को लेट्स सपोज 10 ले लूं, तो a और b की वैल्यूज 2 और 4 है, तो y कैलकुलेट जब मैं करूंगा, this 2 plus 4 times 42 आ गई. y की वैल्यू 42 आ गई जब मैंने x की वैल्यू 10 रखी. अगर इसमें x की वैल्यू मैं चेंज कर दूं, लेट्स सपोज मैं 20 लिख दूं, तो y की वैल्यू में चेंज होना चाहिए, हो गई. तो दिस मींस व्हाट, x की वैल्यू में चेंज हो रहा है तो y की वैल्यू में चेंज हो रहा है. अगर मैं a और b में चेंज करूं लेट्स सपोज 2 को मैं लिख दूं 3 और b को लिख दूं मैं 2, you will see that there's impact in y. It means y पे ये तीनों चीजें इम्पैक्ट कर रही हैं, a, b और x. लेकिन क्योंकि a और b फिक्स हो जाते हैं, हम उसके अंदर कुछ चेंज नहीं कर सकते. That is why it is known as constants. They don't have a value which can be changed easily. लेकिन x जो है, it is a variable. You can variate the values that you can input here. तो हमें a और b पे फिक्स करना पड़ेगा. इस केस में, इस लाइन के केस में, जो चीज x से मल्टीप्लाई हो रही है वो यहां पर b थी. b की वैल्यू क्या है? 0.0873. 0.0873. जल्दी b की वैल्यू.
सर ये कहां से ये कहां से आई वैल्यू?
क्लास में थे जब ये ट्रेंड रिलेशन बढ़ाया था सबने, y = a + bx. नहीं थे? फॉर्मूला बताया था b का फॉर्मूला. अब मैं तो उतना रिपीट नहीं कर सकता. I request you to kindly go with the slides. You can find those slides on my web page. Download those slides. Look at the formula of trend. How trend analysis has been. What is the value of how b is calculated, how a is calculated. Then you can put that into the figure. ठीक है. और जो x से रिलेटेड नहीं है वो 73.725 है. 73.725. राइट. तो अब मैं यहाँ पर x की वैल्यू कुछ भी डालूंगा तो y की वैल्यू चेंज होती रहेगी. x की वैल्यू 0 डालता हूं तो b से कनेक्ट हो जाएगा. खैर वो तो मैं अब इतना आपको बता रहा हूं तो आई बिलीव आई होप यू मस्ट हैव अ क्लियर कट अंडरस्टैंडिंग ये कैसे हो रहा है. मैं बहुत ही बेसिक लेके चल रहा हूं. आई एम नॉट गोइंग इनटू डीप. आई एम जस्ट फोकसिंग ऑन द बेसिक. बहुत ही बेसिक लेके चल रहा हूं. अब x की वैल्यू फॉर एग्जांपल उस केस में जो हमने डाला था 132. मोमेंट आई पुट x 132, y वैल्यू इज कमिंग आउट टू बी 85. 85 पॉइंट समथिंग होगा, लेकिन 85 मोर और लेस ले सकते हैं आप. द मोमेंट आई चेंज 131, 132, इट गिव्स अस सम वैल्यू. तो ये जिसने बताया था मुझे, मतलब आई बिलीव दैट्स अ वेरी गुड गेस. अगर ये डाटा मैं लेते चलता हूं आगे, लेट्स सपोज मैं 150th मंथ में देखता हूं, लेट्स सपोज 300 देखता हूं, लेट्स सपोज 310 मंथ में देखता हूं, then I will be getting a value of y which is more than 100%. जिसने बताया था, you are more close to the answer. मैं ये नहीं कह रहा हूं आपका आंसर गलत था. I am just asking you. ये तो 132nd मंथ में हमने देखा. अगर ये डेटा हम और एक्सटेंड करें और आगे तक ले जाएं, डबल कर दें, ट्रिपल कर दें, तो y की वैल्यू विल रिमेन हाई. उसका कोई इलाज हो तो बता देना. Anyways, this is not for you to make मतलब this is not an assignment in fact, but you will get some values of y when you talk about 131 and 132. 131, 132 कैसे आया ये वो जल्दी से मैं बता दूं आप लोगों को, ताकि कंफ्यूजन थोड़ा सा दूर हो जाए आप लोगों का. अगर आप देखें यहाँ पर इन्होंने जनवरी को फर्स्ट मंथ माना है, फरवरी को सेकंड एंड सिमिलरली 12 और दिसंबर. नेक्स्ट ईयर के मंथ को उन्होंने जनवरी को जो नेक्स्ट ईयर 2004 का मंथ है वो 13 मान के चले हैं. तो अगर हम ईयर्स को यहाँ पर हटा के मैं इसमें सीरियल नंबर 1 2 3 4 डालूं, तो दिस इज 131, नवंबर इज 131 एंड दिसंबर इज 132. 131st month, 132nd month, then we are getting these figures. Okay, very nice observation. Whosoever has put it, मैं देख नहीं पाया किसने बताया ये चीज, लेकिन थैंक यू वेरी मच फॉर दैट. तो ये फिगर यहाँ से आ गई. और एक बात और इसमें जरूरी है, आर स्क्वायर की वैल्यू इज शोइंग टू बी 0.805. It means this graph or straight line, trend line, is actually x और y के रिलेशनशिप में 80% हमें आंसर दे रहा है. मतलब x और y में 80% आंसर हमें मिल रहा है इस इक्वेशन के थ्रू. 80% मतलब 20% भी नहीं मिल पा रहा है. There can be many n number of factors. अब चलिए मैं इस पर डीप में नहीं जाता, मतलब people might be confused, लेकिन किसी को पूछना हो तो I am most welcome to do that. So मेरा एक सवाल यहाँ पर ये रह गया कि यहाँ पर अगर हम 131 डाल लें, you are getting 85. 1 डालते हैं, you are getting 74. ठीक है, you are getting some answers. बट ये जो y आ रहा है, ये कौन सीजनलिटी वाला आ रहा है या डीसीजनलाइज्ड आ रहा है? एनीबॉडी?
सर डीसीजनलाइज्ड,
राइट. तो डीसीजनलाइज्ड जो वैल्यू ऑफ y हमारे पास आ रही है 85.16 एंड 85.24, इसे वापस सीजन में डालने के लिए क्या करना पड़ता है हमें?
सीजनल इंडेक्स से मल्टीप्लाई करना पड़ेगा.
सीजनलिटी इंडेक्स से मल्टीप्लाई करना पड़ेगा. और सीजनलिटी इंडेक्स उस पर्टिकुलर ईयर और रो का क्या था? एनीबॉडी इसने निकाला हो?
0.98.
0.98, absolutely right. Multiplied by 0.98, 83.24, and similarly this multiplied by, दूसरे का भी शायद 98 something था, मतलब 2 डेसिमल प्लेसेस तो सेम था. तो 83 आ रहा है. तो यहाँ पर हमारा 83 and 83 approximately, this is what is actually forecasted in this year of November and December. ठीक है. अब कोई कहता है कि साहब मैं ये y इक्वल टू u प्लस bx पे बिलीव ही नहीं करता, मैं तो मानता हूँ, मैं मूविंग एवरेज पे फोकस करता हूँ. I believe moving average is a matter, let's suppose, much better technique as compared to let's say trend analysis. उसके लिए क्या कर सकता है आदमी? वो इन सबका मूविंग एवरेज 3 पॉइंट के लेके चल सकते हैं आप लोग, नो प्रॉब्लम. यू कैन यूज एवरेज 3.5 पॉइंट रुपये आप लेके चल रहे हैं. और यहां पर आकर अगर आप गौर से देखें, यहां पर फिगर नहीं थी कोई, 83 यहां पर आया था. नेक्स्ट फिगर इज 81, तो यहां पर 81 प्रेडिक्ट कराया इसने, और यूजिंग दैट फिगर ऑफ 81 इसने दिसंबर का प्रेडिक्ट कर दिया है. ठीक है, तो ये प्रेडिक्शन हमारा डीसीजनलाइज्ड है. अगेन इसे सीजनलिटी पे डालना पड़ेगा. इसकी वैल्यूज डिफरेंट आएंगी. अगर आप 5 पॉइंट मूविंग एवरेज ले लेंगे, इसकी वैल्यूज डिफरेंट आएंगी. एक्सपोनेंशियल स्मूथिंग यूज करेंगे, इसकी वैल्यू डिफरेंट है. कौन सा मैं यूज करूं? अगेन मीन एब्सोल्यूट डेविएशन, मीन परसेंटेज एरर, मीन स्टैंडर्ड एरर. उससे मैं पता लगाऊंगा कि जो मेरी वैल्यूज आ रही हैं, दिस इज मोर क्लोजर टू व्हाट और नॉट. ठीक है. I hope I've been able to answer many queries जो मैं कर सकता था, and I'm happy that somebody has actually used their head to actually answer these queries कि कौन सा x और कौन सा y होगा और कैसे हम x को predict करेंगे ना. Any further query apart from these queries that I have answered, or if you wish me to again repeat? Okay, now I am hopeful that you all can submit your data of optional this ATS airline by Saturday, and that will be actually marked. So in the meantime, again, if you have any query, you are most welcome to get in touch with me through WhatsApp or through mails, or if you want to ask, if you're using a call, you are most welcome to do so. Don't call me after 6 p.m. Office hours मेरे 6 बजे तक रहते हैं. उसके बाद please don't go for that. उससे पहले WhatsApp कर सकते हैं. WhatsApp can be 24/7, क्योंकि वो मेरे ऊपर होता है. मैं उसे ना देखूं, जब मेरी मर्जी हो तो देख लूंगा, लेकिन I will try to answer your queries before that. And if you believe that you need to ask something substantial after 6 p.m., always prefer to drop me a message first. If there's no query, then I will call it a day. Thank you guys. Thanks for your time. Let's hope that you are enjoying this operations management course. And I highly recommend, again, do these exercises hands-on. It will be very helpful in your career. Very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.